Helane, big picture, is there a risk of a price war at some point, or do you feel confident that the industry is structured as such so that some of these downward cycles that we've experienced in the past won't be revisiting anytime soon?
Right. So I think it's going to be really difficult for there to be a fair war just because of what United's doing and the markets in which they are going to be putting this capacity. This isn't their capacity because it's 50-seaters. It's their regional partners' capacity. So it's slightly different. But that said, I mean, fares are always competitive, right? You always can find a deal. No matter how many times people like me say, well, fares are on the upswing, you're going to come back and say, well, I found a fare between City A and City B for, $49. Of course, you're going to be able to do that. And I don't know if you want to call that a fare war specifically as much as it's an introductory fare that gets people to travel.
I mean, I get that United wound up cutting capacity too much. That's why they're adding it. But the load factor for every airline is still not going to break neutral. And that's basically how much they have to pack the airplane in order to break even. Explain to me how that makes sense.
Right. Actually, that's a really good question. So if you go back over the last 3 decades, big picture, the industry 3 decades ago was flying half full, and then it was kind of 70% full. When was the last time you were on a plane where there were empty seats? And to your point that you just made, flights are packed. The flights are packed because fares are low. And, that's not a sustainable move for 3 reasons. One, you just can't fly your operations that hard all the time. 2, labor costs are up year over year. I mean, they're not at the 35% they were up last year. 2018-19, we're expecting kind of 3% increases. And then 3, fuel costs are up 30% year over year. So obviously, they need to raise fares to just cover higher fuel costs. And of course, it takes about 3 months to work through that. There's always a lag. But we're definitely bearish on United. We definitely would not own United. I thought they'd say they'd grow capacity 4 to 6%. I wasn't expecting it every year for 3 years. But the other guys, I think, are really well positioned to continue to see, higher revenue, lower. They're all focused on keeping costs as low as they can, so sort of think, up about 2% and improving margins. So I think I think 2018 is going to be a pretty good year, especially if you get 3% GDP growth.